I'm so excited.
It's good to be here.
I feel like I
Welcome
haven't
back.
seen you in forever.
It's been a week.
Not even. I was here on Monday. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's been too long.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you're here because there's been a lot on my mind, actually.
Let's hear it.
And I know we've chatted over text,
It's not the same.
but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Okay. But so I just want to hear your thoughts today, along with mine. Like the process of revelation. I'm going to be really emotional today, so excuse me for all the tears that are going to come. Sorry. We're already going to start with crying. This is terrible.
This is great. The heart is tender. I love it.
It's very... Sorry. Anyway, so the process of revelation has been like heavily on my mind. And especially with like a current circumstance. It's nothing deadly or overwhelming, but it's something that's really important to me. And that is, where are we going to live when we move to Park City? Good news is the deal finally went through. We're going to be moving to Park City.
That's so exciting. It's official.
It is official. It's
you guys
official.
Have been praying for this.
I know.
2
That's
years.
a whole nother story in itself. But
God is so good.
He's so good. So that's why I should start off just praising him, and my baby's praying for that and working out, and it's happening. But for me, what's been really heavy is, where are we going to live and what does that look like? Because Kent's not going to be home. I want a good community, right? I want my kids to have some good friends nearby. I want a friend nearby that I can call on. And where is that at? Where am I going to find that in this very transient and also very seasonal type of living? Resort town-esque, and that I know what that looks like. I've lived in Kauai, I've lived in Florida, we've lived in touristy towns, and people come and go, and there are pockets of really good people, but I want to live next to them. I want to live among them, not streets over. And so I know what I'm praying for and looking for, and it has stirred a lot of anxiety within me because of that. And I was telling Kent this the other day, and he was throwing the babies onto the bed while getting ready for work, and I'm feeding Zeke, and it's just like chaotic in our little bedroom, and trying to just talk about how I feel just really overwhelmed right now. And Kent was like, it's just not time to know yet. And that simple phrase just like calmed everything inside me. The way he said it, that was the next part of revelation that I needed to receive from God, was like, it's not time to know it yet. And I told Kent, thank you. Like, I needed that. But that doesn't mean that I don't stop looking or searching. So as I was searching on Zillow, because where else do you go to look for a place to move to? I was looking on Zillow, and all of a sudden, like, this area, it's called the East Basin in Park City. It's on the other side of some freeway coming from Heber. I don't know what that freeway is. The 45. Anyway, I have no idea. Anyway, no clue whatsoever. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I was just drawn to East Basin, and I was like, okay, this is our budget. This is where we can live. And there was these 3 houses that I was obsessed with. And it's particularly one. And I was like, Kent, I feel so good about this house. Like, this is like, I think this is it. Like, there's a cul-de-sac across the street of Ivory homes. This home is like over here with a bunch of other like skinnier, like, but not townhomes with their houses lined up, but it has a yard. Like, this is exactly like what we need. It has everything we need. It has a basement room for Kiana to come be our nanny, or for my mom when I come up when I'm sick, or just to spend the night. It's just everything we need. And just praying about it, feeling good. Kent was talking about it with his business partner. Like, this is where we're thinking of looking. This is the house we're thinking of getting. He's like, I like that one. I was like, it's meant to be. If he's thinking it and I'm thinking it, then obviously God's like, this is the house. Well, come Tuesday, I roll up to the gym, get into the squat rack, ready to like, just like squat my heart out.
It always comes back to the gym.
The gym, baby. Reps for Jesus. Right when I'm like about to squat, I get a ping, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it must be Kiana, because she's at the gym too right now. And after I finished squatting, I picked up my phone, and that house was off the market. Like, literally, I got like stung. I was like, God, I felt so good about this place. Like, we were going today to go look at it, like today, and it wasn't available anymore. And I was like, then where are we going to live? So I was a little salty for a minute, because I'm like, why did I feel so good about this place if this wasn't going to be the place? So anyway, we still went up, And obviously God works in great ways. It was a little stormier, snowy in Park City. And so one part of information I received from God was like, we got to upgrade our van to an SUV. Like, we need 4-wheel drive up here. Like, duh, right? But just one thing that he was like, you need to prepare for this. Like, you have all summer to save up for that. Work on that. So I needed that information. And then I was also reminded, like, it's just not time to know yet. Like, those words from Kent came back to my mind very heavily. Like, it's just not time to know yet. And do not concern yourself over things that do not matter yet. Like, it will come. It will come, Jess. So we went up and we looked at these other 3 houses that were on the mind that we did tours with, and none of them felt good. Walked through every single one. Well, the first one, the master bedroom was like so tiny. The second one already had a little bathroom within like a minute of walking in. The third one, I was like, what in the world? Who does a bedroom on 3 different levels and a microwave? It was just like nothing was...
Not the microwave. Whatever that means.
It was in an awkward spot, and it was just
and
like
a microwave.
And the microwave. It was just like an awkward spot. And it's like things just were not feeling good. Like, I was going up there expecting to feel like this is home. This is the place where we're supposed to be. But I was really overwhelmed. And anyway, I just know in this mess, I'm still in the mess. That's why it's kind of jumbly. I'm like just in this mess right now of wanting a good community, of wanting good friends, family that feel like family. And we're just kind of in this place right now. And I don't know where we're going to end up, honestly, but it's looking like these 2 homes in the East Basin. I told myself, God made me feel good about this location. Thus I will proceed in this location. I keep getting on Zillow every day, researching houses, and nothing's popping up. I mean, Jeremy Ranch looks nice, but anyway, that's not where we're going to go right now. Anyway, I have seen God work in the past, and it is line upon line. And right now it is line upon line. And it's not what I want, but it's what I need. I needed to hear like, hey, you need an SUV. I needed to see a community where it is the East Basin. I don't know which one yet, though. That's okay. Like, it doesn't matter yet. Like, the house will come when it's supposed to, but you're looking at the right location. You're going to get the right vehicle. And I just keep going back to Kent's words. Like, it's just not time to know yet. And so anyway, that's where I'm at in Revelation right now. And it's not always one flooded, huge thought, but it's going to come in pieces and in waves. And so anyway, I want to hear what you have to say about everything I just like threw up out there.
We're like in the weeds.
We are in the weeds.
I was having a conversation with Amy. She's kind of going through a similar... I feel like a lot of us are like, we're acting in faith. Lord, what is going on? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And going back to Joshua, like, okay, get your feet wet, and then the waters will part. And it's like, I got my feet wet. Like, I got water up to my ears. Lord,
my nose is poking out.
Lord, when is the water gonna part? You know, and that's like, I think that's where you are right now, the mess.
Yeah.
Remind me what Kent said.
It's not time to know yet.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We were talking at Jesus Night on Monday, and I told a story about like timing, and that happened recently with these 3 gas stations I had to go to. And one of the gals, Cass, she said in reply to that, she said, God slows us down to make sure that we're on time for our blessings.
I love that.
And it's just kind of fun to think about, like, what is God orchestrating? Like, who knows when things are going to come on the market or what's going to happen and what timing, you know what I mean? Anyways, so that's just kind of what's on my mind is you just don't even know if, like, maybe the sellers just don't even know, or the people that are going to rent the house to you don't even know they want to have the renters in their house. You know what I mean?
It's so true. Like and right now I think I feel a bit more urgency.
Yeah.
Because Kent did do a walk through of another apartment or house. And And the age, like, oh, right now is kind of like where everything gets thrown up and turned over because it's changing of seasons, because it's so seasonal. And so a lot of people are moving in. And so things go really fast. So I feel a little bit like angst about that too, of like, okay, things are going to come and go really quick. Like I've got to act quickly, but it's not going quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting to see God just work slower for me. He's just working a little slower in that way. And so that rings so true to me right now, slowing me down for the blessings to come.
Just the thought that comes to mind is like what God has for you, he will prepare you for.
Yes.
You know, and what I've been feeling with my grad school applications is like I truly did everything that I could, and now I can rest knowing that whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. You know what I mean? And so you're putting in the work and the effort, and you're showing the Lord that you're acting in faith, and then you will find the place you need to find. And who knows, maybe that means you guys have to live here for a couple more months. And Kent's commuting, God forbid.
I know.
I don't know.
That for him, but maybe.
But also what a tender mercy that you got that answer of like, like the next step that I know that I need to do is to get this, what was it? Suburban, right?
Yeah.
I asked my students this past week about how the Spirit speaks to them and like how they receive revelation. I don't know if we talked about this yet.
No, let's hear it.
And I showed them the Bednar Patterns of Light video, which is just fire. And if you've never seen it, it's talking about the 3 different ways that we receive revelation and comparing it to light, right? So the first one is you're like in a dark room and you flip your light on and it's just illuminated. So the whole room is illuminated. Instant.
Yes.
And then the next one is it's like a sunrise. And so it's gradually getting brighter and brighter until it's fully bright. And then the last one is on a foggy day. You're like taking one step and you can't see past like the next step. And I just love that video. And I asked them their thoughts. And one of my students raised his hand and I was like, yeah, Josh, what do you think? And he said, I think a lot of times we really want like these light switch kind of experiences, right? We're in the dark and we want the light to switch and for us to see exactly what God has for us, right? But in reality, like we don't know when that answer is going to come. Going back to what Kent's saying, we just don't know when, and it's not the right timing. And
Time to know yet.
Almost, and this is the point he was making, was I'd almost rather have these sunrise or these foggy experiences because then at least I know I'm on the right path. You know what I mean? Like, here's the next step, line upon line, precept upon precept. Like, you're on the right path. Just keep going. You don't see the whole thing, but that's okay. You know, and so that's how I feel right now. It's like, I'm getting like these little confirmations that I'm on the right path. Truly only God knows what's going to happen. But at least I know that like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. That reminded me of the conference talk this last conference, Pillars and Rays. Oof. You know, like how overwhelming would it be to have a pillar of light, like every single time to receive revelation versus a ray at a time, or it is a little foggier and you take one step and it's like, and it illuminates just a little bit more and a little bit more. Like it is not as overwhelming, even though we live in an era of instant gratification. I think that's what gets in the way of enjoying the beautiful process of receiving revelation from God, because we want the pillar. We want the instant knowledge of what does 444 mean. I don't know. Let me Google it. Got it. You know, or what does, you know, like, or like, how do you fix a battery in a car or whatever, you know, like you have information at our fingertips, but like God works in a different way. And more often than not, revelation is a little foggier. It comes a little slower.
Wrestling.
Yeah, we are wrestling hard. But, you know, like you said, Vo's dad said, reps killed it out. And I wish it had it pulled up already, but President Nelson talked about, as we return our thoughts back to Christ, that kind of, what was that quote? Crap.
Oh, I don't even remember which group chat it was in. Why do we have 2 group chats?
Okay, we'll circle back to that thought another time, another pod.
That's a good one, though. Shoot, what was it?
I know, no, like that was my turn of thought. No, I'm not there. But anyway, I appreciate that God is patient with me and giving me knowledge and recognizing like it will come when it's time. I do like the sunrises. I love a gorgeous sunrise. Like thinking about that with revelation. Oh, that is like such a pretty way to view revelation. Is the most beautiful sunrise because it can go from like a gray to pink. Have you seen in all the cotton candy vibe in the sky? And then it's like clear as day.
And you're basking in the sun.
Yes.
I love that you talk about revelation being a treasure hunt.
Ooh.
That's one of my favorite things. I just started reading this book that I love called Big Magic. It's about like creative process. And I just opened it up to like a random page 222, which is so funny. What the frick is happening? Anyways, but the chapter I'm reading right now is about trust. And it's talking about how like you need to trust, and it's talking about creativity, right? And so it's talking about how you need to trust that the work that you're making also wants to be made just as much as you want to make it. Instead of being like in this like starving artist, like struggling artist, kind of like I'm wrestling with things. I need to be, doing all these really detrimental things to my body in order to make work that means anything. It's like, no, why are you making it so much harder for yourself? Why can't you think lightly about it? And I think about the same thing with Revelation too. This is what's been on my mind the last couple of days, is like how exciting that we don't know what's going to happen. Like how can we flip the way we think about it to being excited to see how God's going to show his hand, because we know his character. Yeah. We know what he's done in the past. We've read all these scriptures, right? And so it's just kind of like, okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, Lord, what are you going to do? I don't know, but like, I'm here for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're building. You say that makes me think of President Nelson when he says, think celestial.
Yeah.
Like when we have a positive mindset, anything that comes our way is exciting. It doesn't matter what the trial is. It's like good. Ken's word of the year. Good.
Jocko.
Think celestial. I think that's so true. I think President Nelson's like, strengthen your mind. Because when your mind is strong, you're able to do anything and receive that information from God and move forward in faith. It like connects everything. But when you're mentally disabled, it freezes you. Like you're not able to move. You're not in motion. You can't think clearly. Everything is reactionary versus in gratitude. And I think I was listening to, Elder Bednar's talk, like pray always. And he talked about being in gratitude. And that's when revelation comes, actually, is when we have a grateful heart. That's when revelation flows in our life. And I was like, oh, I love that. So rather than me like thinking about, okay, God, where's the answers? It's like, I am grateful I'm alive. I am grateful that I'm breathing and I'm laughing and I'm here with you today. I am so grateful. And I hope that throughout my day today now, I'm able to receive the next line or the next word even. And I was thinking also like, how am I preparing for revelation? And so like, for those that are like the 5 that are listening, for those that are like in a spot of like, where are the answers? Like actually take a step back and look at how am I preparing myself to receive the answer? And for me, one thing that God whispered is like, keep your scriptures open. And I have to go back to that. I used to do that all the time in Florida, and I had floods of revelation. And I'm going back to that practice again, keeping my scriptures open. There's something about tangible paper. It helps me kill the natural man within myself. Because if I'm not touching something of God, I'm going to be touching something of the world. And I need to replace that. And so I have those open always and just thumbing through and reading headlines that I've highlighted out of my scriptures.
Oh, I love that so much. I feel like for me, for something that I have to do in order to receive revelation is I need a journal.
Yes.
Because my mind is just like, all over the place. And if I don't sit down and actually like write out what I'm thinking, then there's no way that I'm ever going to have like a coherent thought. Like that's what slows me down. And then it's through that process of writing and being still that I receive answers.
Oh, I like that. Journaling is a big thing.
Journaling's huge.
I love it. You're like, I got to process this through and you journal it down.
Yeah.
It's like a big thing for you.
I was on the phone with Alex last night and she was like, have you journaled about this? And I was like, why do you know me so well? Like, shut up. Shut up.
Get out.
Get out of here. Oh, it drives me crazy. But I think there is like, I think you need to honor where you are though. And I want to bring up the thing that I sent you of David in Psalms. Of like, okay, it's okay to be discouraged. Like, that's fine. It's okay to cry. Not me being here last week at like midnight eating raspberries at the island, blueberries. Oh, that's what it was.
Blueberries and popcorn.
And crying. Like, it's just normal. You know what I mean?
It's so good.
And that's fine. And it's just like comforting to realize like, oh yeah, these heavy hitter guys in the scriptures, they also wept. Yeah. This is what I found on Pinterest the other day. Today, I just wanted to remind you the same David who said in Psalm 6:6, I'm worn out from sobbing. All night I flood my bed with weeping, drenching it with my tears. Also said in Psalms 34, I prayed to the Lord and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. In my desperation I prayed and the Lord listened. He saved me from all my troubles. And he was written as a man after God's own heart. This is just a reminder that part of being human is that life can be both and God is still faithful to fulfill the plans for our lives. You are not alone in this. So girl, honor your feelings. Like, it's okay. It's okay to feel anxious. But also, I think you're doing the right things of reminding yourself who God is and then being excited about what's to come.
Be like David.
In some aspects.
Yeah, that's true. This David.
This David.
Where you need to weep.
Yeah.
It's a time and season to weep, to feel that. But also turn to the Lord, though. I love that he's in his deepest sorrow, he turns to the Lord. In his greatest victory, he turns to the Lord. It's always the Lord. He's not turning to food or an unhealthy habit. He turns to the Lord.
Or like the gym.
Oh, that's a safe haven for me.
I think about it sometimes though, and I think like, oh man, okay, here's something interesting. So I went to the temple this morning. I was going to roll up to the gym until Tyler said, I'm not going to the gym. And I said, well, if you're not going, I'm not going this morning. But I woke up like early before my alarm. I said, Lord, why do you wake me up early on a Saturday? This is ridiculous. And I ended up going to the temple, and which is shocking. And I was there, and I went in with every intention of doing initiatories, and I ended up going to the sealing office, and I ran into my auntie and uncle, Larry and Shannon. Shout out to them. It was just so much fun to be in the same session with them. It was so fun. And I'm chatting with Shannon in the celestial room, and she was telling me that she's part of the addiction recovery program, like they're missionaries. And I was telling her like, oh, this has been on my mind because I just want to go to see like what it's about. So if I want to tell people about it, then I know what I'm inviting them to. And she was talking about like how you think of like the normal addictions of like alcohol or whatever, that being what it is. And she said, she was telling me she had a lot of trauma growing up, and that her addiction was sugar. And she said, I think that more people have addictions to like various, and even not like addictions, it's more like vices or bad habits. Yeah. And that the addiction recovery program helps you apply the atonement. Like more than anything else, it's just like repenting and becoming your better self, I guess. And so it was just kind of an interesting, and now I don't even remember why I brought this up, what the connecting factor was, but it was just kind of a fun, like, shoot, I wasn't going to go to the temple. And then this has been on my mind. And then they're like these missionaries and like this like applicable thing. Oh, the gym. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. This is here. We're circling back. Here's where the connection is. But I do think that like, I've had conversations with Amy about this in the past of like my coping mechanism is I just need to like go to the gym, and I like don't want to think about anything. And I just want to like go to the gym. And she said, sometimes like maybe you need to process what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and you can't just use the gym to cope with everything, you know? So I think anything good even can turn into like a coping mechanism that's not the healthiest thing, right? And at the end of the day, I think we need to be using things for what they're worth, and then also acknowledging what we're going through and having like healthy patterns. But that was a ramble. Sorry.
No, because I think that goes along with President Oaks. I'll wrap up our pod with this thought, and you can say whatever you want after this. But he actually mentions that in, I didn't quote the talk, but this quote really, it's Renlund. Sorry, Elder Renlund, not Oaks. Whew. But to receive personal revelation, we need to walk away from worldly noises. And I think that's so true. We need to walk away from bad habits. We need to walk away from things that distract us from God. I love to numb my brain. I love it. I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but that's not what's going to get me revelation. That's not what's going to fill my heart and my soul to keep me going every day, to, speak peace to my, didn't I not enlighten your mind? Did I not speak peace to your soul? Oof. Doctrine and Covenants 6, Doctrine and Covenants 8, right? Like there are so many good ways that God speaks to us. And I'm numbing that by eating the sugar or looking at a reel or, looking at who knows what besides God. And I'm really practicing that right now of turning to him each time, each rep, right? Every doubt of thought, rep to turn to Christ. Every instant where I want something that's not very healthy, rep, turn to Christ, right? It's like, I don't need that. I need Christ. That's what's going to fill me. And that's what's going to give me the line upon line and prepare my heart and soul for more and more insight and revelation from him.
Well, I love with that too, as you do it over time, it becomes like second nature.
Yes. Almost first. Because you're just naturally just going to do it.
Yeah. And it's the discipline of like choosing the harder thing that is going to be better for you versus the easier thing in the moment. But I firmly believe, and I know that God wants to communicate with us and he wants to help us. He wants to guide us. He like does have a plan, and he has a path. and he has things that he has for us to do, you know, and he wants to be involved. But also I can see him being like, you gonna struggle with this a little bit more. Like who are you becoming in the process? Oh my gosh. This is one last thing. I don't even know what time we're at right now. Okay. So these aunties that I met at the nail salon last week, I was at their house on Monday. I don't know if I told you about this. Anyways, and we were talking about, I went back to, anyways, I met these ladies and they're just super awesome. And I said, I want to hang out with you. So I went to their house. I just want to talk Jesus with you.
You're so good at just inviting yourself for a good time.
If there's anything I can do, I can invite myself over.
But you know it's going to be a good time.
Exactly. They have this picture. Oh, I was texting you about this the other day. Yes. They have this picture in their entryway. Okay. And it's of Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane with these beautiful poppies, which is just incredible. And it's a beautiful painting. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh yeah, so-and-so artist made it. Like, do you know the story? And I said, I don't even know who this artist is. I'm like, no, I don't know the story.
Let's back it up. Who's the artist?
Okay, let's circle back. Yeah. Anyways, and they were telling me that she started this painting and she got like super sick. And she went to all these doctors, couldn't figure it out. And she was sick this whole time. She didn't get better at all. And as soon as she finished the last brushstroke on the painting, she got better. And I was like, gosh. That is like poetic, you know,
Seriously.
Like Christ, you're depicting Christ suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane and you're also suffering with whatever
Gethsemane.
Yeah, whatever ailment it was, right? And the painting is beautiful. And it just struck me that like it's not about the end result, right? She made this beautiful paint. She could have made this beautiful painting. However, like she's trained.
She could have done it in a couple months.
She could have done it however fast without having like any of those ailments. But it was more about who she was becoming in the process, right? And so that's been on my mind a lot, especially with this project I'm trying to work on. Is like, who am I? It's not about the end result. You know what I mean? Like, who am I becoming as I'm working on this? And I think that's also something we can apply to Revelation. Who am I becoming as I'm struggling and I'm wrestling? Like, as I'm not getting these answers, like, Lord, what do you want from me? Like, what character do I want to build because of this, you know?
Yeah. God's in the people business, baby. Like he's all about the people. He doesn't care about the stuff that moth will corrupt. He's about the people.
He's the ultimate leader.
He wants you, you know?
Amen.
C.S. Lewis, I want your heart. I want all of it, you know?
And
not
Moses.
half measure, not, you know, I want it all. Give it to me.
Oof.
Anyway.
I forgot about that quote. That's a good one.
C.S. Lewis, he has some
good
slaps. Lines.
Well, it reminds me too of Moses 139. And this, Sister Runia, changed my mind about this.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Like Christ just, no, check out God.
Back it up. Scratch that.
Anyway, no, God saying, this is my work and my glory to bring to pass the immortality and eternal life of man. And that not meaning, I've never understood that. The context of it is, he cares so much more about you, more than the stars and the planets and everything he's created. The best creation he's ever made is you.
Yes.
And that's what he cares about, you becoming who you're supposed to become. Like, gosh, dang, that's so awesome.
It's so true. I think we forget that a lot because we just get so caught up in our routine. Yeah. That everything he created was for you.
Yeah.
To experience becoming, to experience life, to get to know him and to get to know yourself, like who you are, like your true identity. I think that's powerful. And that comes line upon line.
Oh, Marie and I were chatting last night at dinner and she watched Sonic, that movie. She was like, I don't know why I watched this, but she had like, she's going to kill me for saying this. Anyway, we
love you, Marie.
We love you, Marie. Anyway, she was like, I just realized something. It's not about us trying to figure out who we're becoming, but it's us remembering who we actually are.
Yes.
And I was like, shoot. And Satan wants us to forget who we are.
Always.
It's in us. Yeah. It's in us.
Yeah. But is it that we're not going through our natural state is not going through a spiritual experience, but our spiritual self is going through a natural experience or a human experience.
Yeah.
Something like that. I just totally butchered that quote. That's the purpose of life, is our spirits trying to go through a human experience, but not to let that get in the way. Maybe I'm vice versa.
We're human.
We're just going to skip that.
We're spirits going through a human experience. I think that's what it is. But I think that's why we need to like think celestial. And that's why we need to spend time in the temple. Every time I'm in the temple, I'm like, like, this is why we do what we do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like buoyed up.
Yeah. We got to breathe life into each other.
Yes.
You know, help each other remember.
Amen.
Just remember.
Remember. It always comes back to remember.
Oh, everything's so intertwined.
But God is good.
So good. All the time.
And all the time, God is good.
All right.
You're going to figure it out.
I am.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
excited to see where we move to.
It's pretty cool to be like in the middle though, you know?
Yeah. It is kind of emotional for me. I'm not going to lie. And that's why it's kind of hard to share it in a cohesive thought, because it is messy for me and like my heart. And I know God is going to take care of it. I know that. Like he has done it in the past, and I know he'll do it for this, but it's just messy. And it's okay. And like, I'm so excited because Kit and I are like, we're building the kingdom. We're building a kingdom. And that's what we're going to go do in Park City. And so I just keep on referring back to that, and God will sustain, support, and provide, you know, because that's what he does all the time, because he is good.
He is good. I love you.
Love you. It's a wrap.